I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing. Why would I need to do that? But if you said that you want to buy the jeans, I'm not going to stop you. But just so we're clear, this is not me telling you to buy American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has very keen.
You see what I did there, right?
How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Marc Perspective. And today we're diving into how an ad campaign starring Sydney Sweeney sparked a digital wildfire about fascism, eugenics, and cultural beauty codes, and how black discourse, especially around Planned Parenthood, can sit uncomfortably alongside that outrage. The question isn't just what we're reacting to, but why we react at all. I mean, once again, we're just taking things a bit too far, but let's get uncomfortable. So I took down a lot of notes because I wanted to make sure I explained this to you, what's going on and my feelings and why I notice a lot of blacks are complaining when they shouldn't. So let's move forward, and you'll definitely see where I'm coming from. So here's what happened. Sydney Sweeney, who's blonde, blue-eyed, classically attractive, and she is very attractive. She did an American Eagle commercial with the line, "Sydney Sweeney has great genes." It's a pun, okay? A simple one, but critics leap to label it fascist, calling it a wink towards eugenics. They pointed to visual aesthetics that evoke purity, legacy, whiteness. You see, this just doesn't end. I don't get it. However, let's pause for a minute. Is this ad a covert white supremacist signal, or are we projecting our historic traumas onto pop culture faster than we unpack those traumas ourselves?
The words we use are never unintentional, and so for American Eagle to say that Sydney Sweeney has good genes is not an accident. So, there's an ad that was grabbed from the internet that said why Sydney Sweeney has good genes. It talks about how genes are passed down throughout time, from your mother, from your father, and you get your genes from your parents. Her genes are blue. She wanted us all to know her genes are blue. And this is not a far cry to say that it is the amping up of eugenics in this country. It is the ramping up of choosing certain models, people to promote certain items that look like what they want their customers to look like. Now, I'm in marketing. I'm not away from understanding what a target market is. Like, I understand the KPIs. I understand your SWOT analysis. Please. But what I will say is that this marketing campaign, no marketing campaign is ever unintentional, and no marketing campaign doesn't know what they're doing with the language that they're using.
Do a get ready with me while I talk about Sydney Sweeney's new American Eagle ad. So first and foremost, y'all, the ad is apparently supposed to be her selling jeans, but like if you watch it, you don't get that vibe that that's what she's selling, like at all. So for starters, right, the ad that I've seen, because again, I'm not sure if there's multiple, I don't even need to see multiple though, but the ad that I've seen, it's so creepy and it's so obvious that they're trying to promote eugenics. Like, and I think, again, this all goes to like my apparently too woke theory that conservative media is literally overtaking like the entire like media atmosphere. Also, I'm switching the lighting because it's making my concealer look so light. And I promise y'all it is not that light. I promise you. Anyway, it'll blend out. I promise you. I know what I'm doing. Anyway, so yeah, like when you see it, like it's just like a eugenics campaign. It literally is a eugenics campaign. Like, of course, you're gonna say that the blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl has great genes, and people are trying to say, oh, well, it's just a reference to her big boobs, okay? Like, I'm sure it's also a reference to that, but let's also like, I'm 100% sure at the same time that two things can be true at once. So it's also about literally the fact that she's a white blonde girl.
So as I stated earlier, I needed to make sure that I wrote down everything right because I want to say what I was talking about when it comes to eugenics, because if you notice in the previous videos, they talked about eugenics, promoting white supremacy, because Sydney Sweeney said, or the commercial said, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. And they're using that to say, they're talking about, because she's blonde hair, blue eyes, that she has great genes. This is all promoting eugenics, white supremacy, fascism. I swear to God, liberals throw that word out so much. And that's from a Saul Alinsky thing where they talk about continuously saying the same word till it's less embedded in a person's brain that they would believe what you're saying, even though you're just throwing it out there to confuse the masses. But it's a way of how to control the masses. But I digress. So I wanted to talk about, I guess, Margaret Sanger. Okay, because when we talk about eugenics, Margaret Sanger, who founded what would become Planned Parenthood in 1916, advocated for birth control as a tool for women's liberation. But she also embraced eugenics, a movement aimed at improving the human race through selective breeding. Her writings included disturbing lines like, and please listen to this, hold on, let me get to it. The most urgent problem today is how to limit and discourage the over-fertility of the mentally and physically defective. Margaret Sanger considered blacks to be physically defective. She probably thought mentally too, but she definitely thought we were physically defective. Okay, so Margaret Sanger launched the Negro Project in 1939, aiming to bring birth control to black communities. Critics argued this was a covert population control effort. Supporters say she wanted to empower poor women with reproductive choices. One infamous quote, often cited out of context, reads, let me get to it. We do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. Okay. Let that sink in for a minute. To exterminate the Negro Project. And if you really want to be serious, I think they're doing a good job already, because, as I stated before, black population growth has been stagnant, and we're about to be fourth in population by 2065. Okay, so that was then. Let's talk about the abortion rates and racial disparities. Okay, in fact, move on to racial disparities. Let's talk about abortion rates. So black women account for nearly 40% of all abortions in the U.S., despite making up only about, 13% of the female population. The abortion rate among black women is 28.6 per 1,000 compared to 6.4 per 1,000 for white women. Let that sink in. And why do I think it's like that? I think it's because of clinic placement. If you notice, many abortion clinics are in mostly minority neighborhoods. A lot of it. I want to say it's over 70%. A lot of people want to throw in systemic barriers and economic inequality. No, I think that, lack of education, lack of sex education, lack of education, period. Our young kids are just doing whatever they want, and then they go get these abortions, and and then adults. I mean, the numbers are ridiculous, but I gave you stats: 28.6 per 1,000, and whites only 6.4. I think it's lower with Hispanics. So, that's something to think about. And when I hear these people talk about eugenics, I say to myself, for somebody that's crying about a commercial, you guys been silent when they actually promoted it in black neighborhoods using black preachers, black reverends, black bishops, black leaders. And I'm talking about back then during Jim Crow to promote eugenics so that blacks could stay at a certain race. Do you think the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1965 was done to I guess to promote a much better workforce in America? No. It was to keep blacks because blacks were second in population. And as soon as the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1965 passed, we then fell to third. And now we're about to be fourth in population. So you guys sit down and keep complaining about all this eugenics, and Sydney Sweeney is promoting white supremacy and so forth. If you really cared, you would have done something long time ago when it was being promoted, and when Margaret Sanger plans was to either exterminate or to reduce black population.
Planned Parenthood hails founder Margaret Sanger as a champion of civil rights. But one thing they don't talk about is the racism behind her fight to legalize abortion. A group of African American leaders want to focus attention on her ideology and how it affected black birth rates. Abigail Robertson has more on this story.
Margaret Sanger strived for a society that limited births to only those she deemed fit to have children.
Well, I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world that have disease from their parents, that have no chance in the world to be a human being, practically. Delinquents, prisoners, all sorts of things just mocked when they're born. That, to me, is the greatest sin.
Many pro-choice advocates see her as a hero, but critics call her a racist eugenics promoter who targeted black communities with her Planned Parenthood clinics.
Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, once said, colored people are like weeds, they need to be exterminated.
People don't understand that 79% of Planned Parenthood clinics are located in minority communities, and that minority communities shoulder a disproportionate amount of abortion.
Dr. King says while African Americans make up only 13% of the U.S. population, over 30% of aborted babies are from black mothers.
Under the veil of secrecy and deception, 60+ million babies have not been born because they were aborted legally since '73. 1/3 of that population belong to the African American community.
Planned Parenthood recently celebrated its 100th anniversary, prompting pro-life leaders to unite under the banner 100 No More to educate the public on the harmful impact Planned Parenthood has had on the African American community. 100 No More hope rallies like this one in Washington spread across the country to enlighten people about Sanger and her tragic legacy.
I have a real serious concern about the number of abortions that's taking place in the minority community, particularly the black community, and that I see this as a form of genocide. That is something we need to take a serious look at.
Planned Parenthood receives around $500 million each year from taxpayers.
96% of the time, if a pregnant woman walks into their clinic, that she will have an abortion.
Pro-life advocates want Congress to move that money to women's clinics that do not perform abortions.
They outnumber already around the country Planned Parenthood clinics 20-1. They truly help poor women. They truly care for the least of these, but they don't do abortions.
Reporting from Washington, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Planned Parenthood is publicly commemorating Black History Month while turning a blind eye to what the organization's very founder remarked about race. That's this week's Speak Out segment. In a series of recent tweets, Planned Parenthood President Dr. Lena Wen praised black employees and supporters of Planned Parenthood, including one of her predecessors, the organization's former president, Faye Waddleton. But Wen's posts overlooked Planned Parenthood founder Margaret Sanger's writings on race. In her autobiography, Sanger wrote that she spoke at a 1926 Ku Klux Klan rally. She characterized her lecture there as a success, writing, quote, "I believed I had accomplished my purpose," and that, quote, "a dozen invitations to speak to similar groups were proffered." In a 1939 letter to Dr. Clarence Gamble, Sanger wrote that to expand her efforts, colored ministers should be hired to help them make their case. Here are her words. Listen to this. "The most successful educational approach to the Negro is through a religious appeal. We don't want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members." This disdain for African Americans is not just a stain in the organization's past, it is ongoing in their work today. Black babies are aborted at a disproportionate rate in the U.S. population. According to the Centers for Disease Control, abortion rates in 2008 for non-Hispanic Black and Hispanic teenagers were 2 to 3 times higher than the rates for non-Hispanic white teenagers. The fact Planned Parenthood claims to celebrate Black History Month while not acknowledging these facts speaks to its hypocrisy and lies. Do not trust Planned Parenthood and do not fall for their propaganda, not during Black History Month or for any month for that matter.
So you heard those videos where learned a little bit about Margaret Sanger, how Planned Parenthood was started. They talked about the Negro Project and so forth. And Margaret Sanger made some racial comments, went to a KKK meeting, and was praised by Adolf Hitler. People forget that Adolf Hitler praised her and her work in the United States when it comes to eugenics. So I wanted you guys just to understand how we have fallen as a society. Then we take this commercial and we read into everything. So because they said Sydney Sweeney has great genes, we automatically say it's eugenics and white power. Yet white power is being displayed during a time when blacks were seen as, I guess, bad genes or so forth. And these woke individuals, they destroyed statues and everything like that. Yet Margaret Sanger is still up, and she made some very racist comments and used black leaders so that they can basically exterminate as many blacks as they could. And nobody's saying anything about that. These young people are still praising Planned Parenthood. Black people are still, and I don't hear from the Mark Lamont Hills. I don't hear from the Roland Martin. I don't hear from any of them, really going against Planned Parenthood. I'm not saying, and I'm not even going into abortion. I'm not even going into that. I'm going into Planned Parenthood and Margaret Sanger's ideology. Okay? And I don't hear none of these leaders speaking out or saying anything that can let blacks know that, hey, this is the truth. This is what we need to do, because once again, black population is stagnant. It's going nowhere. And blacks, we love shooting and killing each other. We love robbing and doing all kind of stuff. We're not educating ourselves. Our reading and math is below grade level. Yet we'll stand out here, get abortions, do all kind of stuff. And we're doing stuff that's harming ourselves. So when I hear this, I hear black people talking about Sydney Sweeney and this American Eagles commercial, You guys need to give it a rest. It is a commercial. She's white. She's very beautiful. And she did a commercial. It says Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Okay? It's a pun. It's not saying that she got great genes because she's white and this is cold so all the white people could go out, or they want only white people to purchase their genes. Because I promise you, if I'm running a business, I don't care who buys it, because green speaks to me. I don't care about white, black, or anything like that. Green speaks. So we really need to stop. And we really need to focus on what truly matters. Okay? Reducing the abortion clinics in mostly minority neighborhoods. Getting a much better education. Okay? Education is the key. So school choice, I believe, is a great way for children, especially minority children who are struggling in school badly, to now be able to have that open availability to all kind of schools, to all different type of levels, so that they can get the proper education that they need. Because some can't keep up with certain curriculums. They can now move somewhere else where they can go at their speed. But the more we keep arguing about dumb stuff like this here, and this gene commercial, it's sickening. It's really sickening. And it shows that we can be dumbed down anytime. We see a commercial and we get stupid. We get stupid. When the person who truly did not like blacks, okay, who's a racist, and started the Negro Project, was a lady who founded Planned Parenthood. And Planned Parenthood has a bus for her as if she was the greatest thing on earth. And she wasn't. Okay? Because blacks have aborted since 1973, since after Roe v. Wade, have aborted maybe over 20 million babies. 20 million. 18 to 20 million babies have been aborted, and nobody's saying. I don't hear Dr. Umar Johnson saying anything. I know he's out here begging for money, you know. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what his school is doing. I'm thinking that he's going to soon be investigated or something. I don't know what's going on with him, but I don't hear him speaking out about this. He's so quick to be with white, stick to your race, and black, white this and white that. But I don't hear him speaking out on the education, the homicide, since blacks from the age 0, the number one cause of death for blacks ages 0 to 35 is homicide. I don't hear Dr. Umar Johnson talking about that. I don't hear him talking about anything relevant that can help, because they talk about foundational black Americans. The other blacks are succeeding. They come into this country and they're succeeding. The foundational blacks here are failing at a drastic rate. Failing. Okay? And either these so-called leaders, like I said, Mark Lamont Hill, Roland Martin, Michael Eric Dyson, Al Sharpton, and Dr. Umar Johnson, either they are going to speak truth, or we need to kick them to the curb. This whole white supremacy stuff must stop. 99 problems everybody has, white or mostly blacks. White supremacy is not one of them. You got a lot much bigger problems than white supremacy. Okay? Anyway, I'm glad to have this conversation with you guys. It really bothered me when I saw this commercial and thought, why are we saying some of the dumbest things ever? But I hope that you guys can take whatever I just presented to you, and you can take this information and spread it to others so that we can enlighten ourselves and stop dumbing ourselves down, because we are just dumbing ourselves down. Anyway, you guys have a great day. I'll have another video out. I'm happy because this is my 40th episode. I'm really pushing them out, and I just need the views. I just need the watch hours to grow. I reached past 1,000 members. I'm very happy about that, but I need to get my watch hours up. I need to get it up drastically. Okay, so please like, subscribe, share this channel. Leave a comment below, especially on this video. Leave a comment below, and if you have anything that you want me to talk about, you can leave it in the comments below, or you can write to themarcperspective@gmail.com. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Peace.
With that being said, brothers and sisters, Dr. Umar has access to no money right now because my personal account contains all of my money. I only send it to Apple Pay and PayPal as necessary. So the Prince of Pan-Africanism, for the first time in my life, is without any digital currency. So for my loyal supporters out there, if you can spare a few dollars so I can take care of Queen Mother Ifatunde and myself until my bank account is frozen or canceled so I can get my money back and open up a new account, please hit my Apple Pay or hit my PayPal. My personal PayPal account is Umar the Psychologist at yahoo.com. So that's paypal.me/Umar the Psychologist, paypal.me/Umar the Psychologist, paypal.me/UMARTHEPSYCHOLOGIST, paypal.me/Umar the Psychologist, or hit my Apple Pay using my cell number 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. I've never asked the people for $1. I have never asked the people for $1 in my life. I've only asked you to donate to the FDMG Academy for Boys. I don't have any sons. I have 2 daughters. So the FDMG campaign is a selfless project, mission, and service to provide our boys with the education that they deserve. But right now, I don't have any money because my account was frozen by my bank because someone has been trying to hack into my account, hack into FDMG Academy account. So the FDMG Academy account is frozen. My personal account is also frozen. That means we're going to lapse on our utility bills. We're going to lapse on our internet bill. We're going to lapse on a lot of our bills at FDMG. The bank is not giving me a timeline as to when this situation is going to be resolved. If I don't have Cash App, nor does FDMG have Cash App. I do not have a Cash App. I only have Apple Pay and PayPal. If you can spare a few dollars, send it to my Apple Pay, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858, or my PayPal, paypal.me/Umar the Psychologist. Although Leo season is off to a rocky start, brothers and sisters, we will overcome. Shout out to all my donors. Newark, New Jersey, I'ma see you. Nat Turner, I'ma see you. Mobile, Alabama, I'ma see you. New Orleans, Louisiana, Hurricane Katrina, I'ma see you. Kenya, January, I'ma see you. FDMG is coming. We just got to lay down on floors, brothers and sisters. Lay down on floors, and we applying for our certificate of occupancy. I don't have any money in my pocket because my account is frozen. If you could send a few dollars to Dr. Umar for Apple Pay or PayPal, I would greatly appreciate it. Black Queens forever. Snow Bunnies never. Enjoy your weekend. Leo season forever. Peace and Pan-Africanism.